because the weather in Nairobi can drown someone. Unaenda kwa highway Mombasa Road unapata maji na hakunyeshi, ina flow kama mto. So continue keeping safe. Then again, we now have the maandamano, so which makes it a little bit complicated. Continue keeping safe, but we have to go to work, and videos that premiere on Wednesday at 1 p.m. are normally meant for employees. So if you are employed in the corporate world, then this is the right place for you. Today's video is all about toxic workplaces. Let me know your experience working under a toxic environment. We'll be discussing some of the signs that the place you're working at is not the right for you mentally, health-wise, physically. It's just toxic. And what should we do when we find ourselves in a toxic work environment? So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share the video. I don't know whether you've heard someone share her story and you are like, your employer must have been very toxic or inhumane, especially people who work in houses. And you hear, if you're a house girl, you are not supposed to eat with the rest of the members. You should eat in the kitchen. You should not eat particular foods because you are not a member of that family. So such kind of toxicity is also found in the offices. Only that, this time round, it's not about how you eat and how you relate with other people. It is toxicity in the way you deliver your work, in the way your bosses treat you, and in the way the owner of the organization feels about you, and even the reward they give you in return for your payment. So one of the things that shows you are in a toxic environment is working in a place where people are discriminated. Maybe you discriminated because of your gender, or because you come from a particular race or a particular tribe, or you're a foreigner working in a different country, and the locals feel like you're intruding their place, so they don't like you. Or some bosses are male chauvinists and others female chauvinists. So you'll find they have a tendency, if you like men and you don't have any liking for women, then any good position that comes up or any good role that shows up will be meant for the men. So if you are a woman working in that organization, then you will be at a disadvantaged position because you can never be promoted. Even if your work speaks for itself and there's gender discrimination at the workplace, you will never grow. You'll keep on stagnating, and people will not even appreciate what you do because they don't value you. What happens in return? You feel demotivated. You feel you want to resign. But again, this job affords us lifestyles. They pay our rent, they pay our school fees. So you're desperate for the job, but you're being discriminated. You can't grow career-wise because someone else doesn't like you. Today's woman is empowered. We have a degree just like the men. We have the professional qualification. We are able to deliver just like the men. So it is hard to understand how someone will reserve particular roles for men just because they don't dislike women. And you're left wondering, who gave birth to them? Isn't it a woman? If you don't like women, then you're not supposed to bring it to the work. And it gets intoxicating when you feel, and you can see it by yourself, you are being discriminated. At times, you can't even get beyond above a particular pay grade because you are a woman. Most of the times, it's women who are discriminated against. Rarely will we have men being discriminated. So as a woman, you feel you can't resign because you rely on this job, but it is very, very toxic. Another example that shows you might be working in a toxic environment is being in a place where your job description and what you practically do, they don't align, or you do more than you are required to do or more than you were hired to do. For example, you were hired as a driver, a male person whose work is to just drop checks at the bank, take letters to the clients, pick something for the organization, but your boss wants to misuse you to do his personal businesses. He will tell you, because you are the driver and you're using company resources, go pick my children from school, pick my wife and drop her at home from work. Today I'm getting late, I'm going for a drink, you should be taking me home. Yet, he doesn't give you allowance for that. You are not supposed to complain about it, because if you complain, you look like you don't have good motives. You are not a self-driven person who can do over and above what they were hired to do. You may be an office administrator who works at a reception. Your work is to just receive calls, get back to customers, direct customers or employees on where they should wait, when they want to see someone. But you find yourself doing some other non-reception work, like being in the registry, filing documents, helping retrieve documents that were archived a while back, or even serving teas to your boss's clients. Yet you're not the chef of that organization. You are specifically hired as a receptionist. Or your role is in the sales and marketing department. But more often than not, you'll find yourself being questioned on matters regarding maybe legal issues, maybe matters regarding to poor performance of the organization. Yet that is not in your job description. It gets confusing because you're supposed to deliver. You're not supposed to outshine your boss. So whatever you're told to do, you're expected to deliver. But should it be at the expenses of your work time? If I was hired to work between 8 to 5 and I'm given some other personal work from my boss, which makes me work up to 5:30, and there's no compensation for that, at the end of the day, I'm a frustrated employee. And you shouldn't tolerate such a toxic environment. Bad leadership is the main cause of toxicity at work. Some bosses are very toxic. They have poor communication skills. They have zero leadership skills. They were only placed in positions because probably they were academically qualified or they had a great experience, which did not necessarily imply they are good leaders. There are people who cannot lead a team. You will find a boss who says, this one is supposed to be done by you. You are supposed to deliver on this KPI, but they never told you you're supposed to deliver. So when they are bashed maybe by the management or the executives or the directors, they throw it down to you. They like blame games. Or sometimes other toxic bosses will want to take credit for your work. You work so hard to deliver on a particular project, but they will not even acknowledge you. They want to take all the glory by themselves. They want to shine by themselves. As much as you did the entire donkey work, their only work was to present. No one wants to feel like they are not valued, like their input don't matter. No one wants to have his work not being credited. If you are good, their boss should recognize that. But some other toxic ones, they know you can deliver, but they still not want to recognize that because you are a threat to them. Or sometimes you find you are more qualified than your boss. Maybe he holds a diploma and you have a degree. So he feels you are threatening his job, so he doesn't want to see you prosper. And in return, what does he do? He intimidates you. He likes you because you can deliver and you have the right skill set for the job. But again, due to the fact that you may render him irrelevant, lender. I mean, RENDER. You may render him irrelevant. He'll always try to make you feel like you are not doing enough, even when you're doing your best. It's you to know, my boss has an issue with me because of my skills, because of my professional qualification, because of the fact that academically I am at a higher level than him, which is a threat. So you need to humble yourself as you look for an exit plan. Toxic bosses should not be tolerated because you cannot change anybody. If a boss is bad, they are just bad. There's nothing you can do about it. I think my next video will be about How do we deal with difficult bosses? So stay tuned and make sure you watch the video until then. And by the way, I'd like to put a disclaimer out there. What I share must not necessarily be what I'm going through at my current place of work, but these are things I know for sure. Things either I've experienced or my friends have, because I relate with other people in the corporate industry. So don't go misquoting me at I'm complaining of my boss and my workplace. That is not the case. In fact, my current employer is so good. Even the previous one, I don't have any complaint. But I've had previous employers being very, very toxic. You can tell a place is toxic based on the turnover. If there is a high turnover, I mean, people are leaving the organization every now and then. You will not find an employer or employee who is maybe more than 5 years old. Most of them are young, maybe 2 years, 3 years, the eldest 4 years. That is a red flag. You should ask yourself, who leaves a good employer? No one. So, do your due diligence. In fact, even in the interview, ask them, how long have you been here? If you hear that the entire people in the panel are 2, 3 years old, the first, the second, or even in the third interview, then that calls for alarm. And again, if your colleagues are not staying for that long, even as you get employed in an organization, you get in there knowing this one is just a stepping stone. I'll also be leaving very soon. Because don't think you are an exemption. If people don't stay, it's because there is a problem. So take your time to find out where is the problem. Is this something you're able to live with, or is something you cannot tolerate? So be keen on the length of service people have been with your employer. Toxicity can be manifested in a place where work-life balance is not appreciated. Let's say you work maybe in a bank. We know public holidays are, you're supposed to be off, you're supposed to relax, it's your time off. You're supposed to take your leave days at maybe at the beginning, midway, depending with the organization, how the number of leave days you have. But one day, maybe on a Kenyatta day, okay, nowadays it's called Mashujaa, your bank relationship officer wants you to be at work by 9 a.m. And he did not tell you the previous day. He's telling you on the eve of the holiday. And if you don't turn up, then that one is a show cause. You're supposed to live in fear, knowing that your employer can call you anytime. Or at times, your bosses come to say you're supposed to work on a weekend, and they're telling you on a Friday evening. Maybe you had plans prior, but you are not engaged. You are not even given the option to negotiate. It is expected, if you told, you don't question, you just turn up. Or you're supposed to go for your leave days, and you've planned even before you want them. Maybe my birthday is in July. I would like to go for my holiday during that time. So I'll apply for my leave days then, and I plan it in advance. Then when July comes, my employer wants to tell me, you cannot go for leave because A, B, C, and D. Or maybe it's November, or it's December, or we can even use January. You know, the kids are now going back to school. People are out of holidays. So I would want to plan my vacation at this time because it is way cheaper. The hotels do not have a lot of bookings. But you told, as much as they are your days, you earned them. And it is in your contract letter that you have 10 days in a year, which should be uninterrupted. You're told, unfortunately, you cannot go. You may even end up losing money you had used to book for the hotels or for transport, because you're supposed to bow down to your employer. You're supposed to listen to him. You are the one who needs him, not the other way around. So such a workplace is toxic because you always live in fear of, suppose I plan for my Easter holiday, then I'm told I cannot go for leave. Suppose I decide I want to sleep today, even if it is a holiday, and then there are issues at the office and it is mandatory I show up. Work should be left at work. If you are on holiday, then there's someone who should step in for you, and nobody should deny you going for leaves that you clearly and Can you run for your life if you realize your employer is that type that will not let you be? They'll not let you have a private life. They have configured you to 24 hours, you're just thinking about your work. They don't let you have anything extra. You can only do it at the time they want, not at the time you would prefer. The final thing that describes a toxic workplace is being in a place where people have grouped themselves into particular, maybe wealth or where you come from, or a place where people were not hired on merit. They were hired on the basis of, I know someone who knows someone. Or, this is my uncle's company, so I am the cousin to the wife. Or, this is our grandmother's organization, so we don't care about who are hired here. If you're not a member of our family, then there is a way we are going to treat you, because you cannot do anything to us, you cannot fire us. We may not even respect the current management because the organization belongs to us. It's you who will go. It's you who found us here. You can't do anything about it. At work, I believe if you're able to deliver, it doesn't matter who referred you there. It doesn't matter who are you connected to. Respect authority, respect your colleagues, have good rapport with everyone, because we are there because we need the money. As much as it is your uncle's organization, you are desperate for the money, just like a poor person is. So you don't have to put it out there so that everyone can know you're supposed to be handled like an egg. You're very fragile. Or because you are related to someone else who maybe supports this company, you feel like other people are just like rags. That is wrong. And don't tolerate such nonsense. Don't be in such toxic workspaces unless circumstances have forced you to be. For lack of a better words, I would say it is beggars who tolerate nonsense. Even in marriages, it is a woman who has nothing for herself who tolerates any bullshit from the husband. Similarly, at work, you tolerate toxicity because you're desperate for the money. If you are rich and you know that your bills will still be sorted, nothing will stop if you stop earning that small amount your employer is offering you, then you are going to resign. But that is not the option for most of us. Majority of us are really desperate for those jobs, and you cannot just recklessly lose an opportunity just because there are some small misunderstanding or the work environment is not healthy. Unless it is harmful to your health or you're being sexually assaulted, that is when I would recommend you resign. Otherwise, my advice is you stick to the job as you look for an exit plan. Look for another job or get coping mechanisms. Learn to appreciate that my boss is very toxic. He may never appreciate what I do. He thinks I want to overthrow him, but that will not prevent me from shining, from doing the best quality work, from exposing my skills to the best of my ability. Learn to tolerate that colleague of yours who feels they are very rich. They don't want to associate with people who come from humble backgrounds. You just do your job. Other issues, especially with people, ignore them. Learn how to manage as you look for an exit plan. One of the other things you should do to help you survive a toxic work environment is getting a support system. Maybe people in the same professional network, people you work in the same industry, whether it's a bank or in the pharmaceutical industry, because you realize most of these things are relatable. You're experiencing too much workload. Your colleague or your ex-college mate who works in a different industry from what you are in is also experiencing the same. They're experiencing too much pressure from the bosses, bad leadership, discrimination at work, or even during the performance scorecards. So when you get someone you can share with and they're experiencing similar problems as you will realize it's not a big deal. This is what happens in the corporate industry. Or maybe your partner, or your children, or your friends. At the end of the day, you're looking forward to, I want to call this best friend of mine. I have to vent to him how my boss today mistreated me and I felt like I don't deserve being treated like that. Then, when your friend offers you a listening ear, you will be more calm, you will feel satisfied, you will have a zeal to look forward to going to work tomorrow because today's problems have already been addressed. And when you share something with someone, we say a problem shared is half solved. So that problem which you have at work, if you share it with your spouse and he knows you have a common goal, he will still encourage you to tolerate. He will encourage you or give you some tips. This is how you handle such a case. So get yourself a supporting system. Have people you vent to at the end of work. Have people who you not only share about work, but you have other personal matters you can share with them, and they'll help you forget about nonsense or toxicity that happened during your working hours. Something else that can help you to relate or survive in a toxic work environment is having something else you do outside your work. For example, like for my case, I create content on YouTube. So as much as I'm so stressed by my 8 to 5 job, after that, I'm looking forward to how will I get home and create content? How will I get home and cook my favorite dish? How will I get home and watch my favorite movie? The current Real Housewives of Nairobi show. I want to watch it. Tomorrow we'll review it with my friends or with my colleagues. So I'm not confined to just what happens in my workplace. I'm looking forward to get home and watch news. Nijue maandamano imeenda aje leo. Kesho nitakuwa na kitu ya kuchangia over and above my line of duty. Hiyo ni conversation yenyewe. Hata ukibebwa na mtu wa boda, una strike to like, leo umeona aje hiyo story ya Raila? Umeona aje hiyo story ya shamba ya Uhuru kuatakiwa? So you're not just in studies we say a bookworm. So I don't know whether we can say a workworm. Mtu mwenye anapenda kazi yake sana. So mambo zake mingi zina revolve tu hapo job. No, that's not the best thing. Get yourself a hobby. Get a side hustle. Have something you do outside work. Ndio hata hiyo Saturday employer akidecide unafaa kuwa kwa ofisi, unamwambia no, I can't. Saizi mimi niko Gilgil, niko kwa shamba yangu. There's no way I'll get to the office. You can't be given impromptu surprises when you have something else that you normally do. Mtu akikupigia niko Gikomba kwa soko. Sasa siwezi manage kuingia kwa ofisi. Live yangu mimi niko Arusha. My phone is not even going through. Otherwise, kama wewe ni mtu unajulikana uko tu readily available, hauna familia, there's nothing you do, kazi yako unasemanga weekend mzima ulilala, hata watu wanajua you don't even cook, you will prefer, I don't know, ordering. You don't have a life outside your normal 8 to 5 job. Then people are likely to take advantage of you. And you think toxicity is about tolerance. If you can tolerate today being called to an impromptu meeting and another day you still tolerate, then that becomes the norm. It is no longer toxic. People will not even view it as a toxic trait. It's the new normal. So in the comment section, let me know what you do outside your work. How do you balance? Is there something you look forward to after work? Kama wewe ni job, ulipwe tena tuanze another month, day 1 to day 30, ulipwe, utolerate toxicity and all the nonsense that comes with it. There's a song that says, kelele ya chura haizui ng'ombe kunywa maji. Kwa hivyo, hata wewe jijue. Know yourself so well in such a way that mdosi wako akiamua you don't do the job the right way, unaingilia kwa hii masikio, inatokelezea kwa hii, because you know what you are capable of. Zoea kupiga watu blue tick. Kama mtu hakupendi, sasa hiyo ni shauri yake. Pale job, ujaenda kupendwa, ujaenda kuplease anybody, umeenda kufanya job yako, ulipwe mwisho wa mwezi ukifika. So, watu wakiamua to put themselves in particular groups of wealthy people or people who know each other or who club together, that's an issue. Get yourself such a group, but outside your workplace. Normalize living your best life professionally in the office and having a private life outside there, having separate friends from your colleagues. In that way, wewe ukienda pale utafanya kazi yako, uchape kazi, uende home. The next day uroke uchape, ufeel vibaya, ufeel kewaru. Na ni ngumu sana, as much as we may have toxic bosses, akuharass even when you're doing the right thing continuously. Kuna vile ataku-stretch, kuku-intimidate, but pia ako very keen usikuje resign, especially when they know you are a key employee. You're someone who doesn't have to be supervised to deliver great results. You're someone who is loved by the customers, or you're someone who is bringing business to them. If you're a good person, you cannot be let go. So, zoea kupiga hizo blue ticks. Zoea tu kuishi maisha yako. Ufanye job. Because that is your goal. Always remember why you look for the job. It's for the money, not for the people around. And you may not have a choice of who becomes your employer or who becomes your colleague, because people are diverse. I've come to the end of this video, guys. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know, have you ever experienced a toxic work environment? And also, stay tuned. Put the bell for you to receive notifications whenever I upload a new videos. Premiere time is 1 p.m. on Wednesday and on Sunday at 4 p.m. Sunday is about documenting my life, and Wednesdays are all about matters relating to the corporate workplace. Let's continue being better employees and being better colleagues. In whatever God has put you in, be the best version. So subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment once more. So adios. Asanteni sana.